This is a test of a 7-inch Raspberry Pi official screen hotspot. It's got an Mmdvm duplex board in it, and then underneath of that is the Raspberry Pi 3B Plus. It's got the driver for the Logitech Unify keyboard, if it focuses. And then you can see the antennas, dual antennas, power, HDMI out, and then we have the full screen running. And then the hotspot's been set up for my friend, and so I put their call sign in. It's already connected to my Wi-Fi. I'm gonna do a quick test. Test. This is a test. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is a test. 1, 2, 3, 4. So there we go. That's on the Parrot talk group. So now we'll change to 91. That's a pretty active talk group worldwide. I key up. I go to 91 on the hotspot, and then if somebody's talking, we have to wait for them to finish before we join in, and then once they finish talking, we can listen in. Alright, so there we go. We see the green light on my radio means that I received a transmission from the hotspot to the radio. And we can see there that W4BAD keyed up, shows you the time 0.5, so he just keyed up. If it was a little bit longer, like there's my transmission, it's 4.4, so that's an actual conversations. But there are a lot of just keying ups. So this is the admin screen. So the admin screen, you can see the Mmdvm host. That's kind of like the operating system. PyStar is like the front end web server and everything. So right here we have the frequency. We're on 4343. We're listening. We got the firmware version 1.4.16. Actually, I might be a little bit behind, so I'll probably update the firmware. We got our DMR ID, our color code. It's usually always 1. And since this is duplex, we have time slot 1, time slot 2. We're going to be time slot 2, and then we're talk group 91, and we're on Brandmeister United States. You can also see that up here. Brandmeister, I think there's 4 Brandmeister servers in the United States. So since this is internet based, the hotspot sends our transmissions and receives transmissions through servers, the Brandmeister network, Brandmeister DMR network. We can see temperature. We're at 51. It's kind of warm, but as long as we're below 70, I think it's fine. So we got 18 degrees clearance there. Oh, there's somebody talking. So another thing, we can go to the configuration. So these are where the settings are.
You're coming in loud and clear on talk group 91 worldwide. VK4GF clear.
Okay, and then we can be on all the other tabs and still receive transmissions and stuff. So right here, we're on simplex mode. We're on DMR. So if you had a D-Star radio, you turn on D-Star. If you had Fusion, you'd turn on YSF. Host name, PyStar, there's call sign, DMR ID, frequency, latitude, longitude. I didn't enter that in. If you actually turn that down. there was a kind of bug. If you had the latitude and longitude mixed up, Brandmeister server wouldn't let you log on, so I don't mess with that. There's the city state. You can have a web page, the modem type. So this is an Mmdvm HS dual hat. But since it's on simplex, I have it on hat. But if you want it on duplex, you'd put it on duplex hat. The next one is public. So that means anybody with the radio programmed correctly, like talk group, time slot 2, color code 1, frequency 4343 could access this hotspot. If you made it private, only the DMR ID for this hotspot could connect. So the next section is the servers. So we're on Brandmeister, color code 1. That's really all I mess with. Then the next settings are the Wi-Fi. If you're hard wired, you won't have this. So if you want to add Wi-Fi, you just click configure, and you can either scan for networks and pick one. It takes about 10 seconds as the little thing says. So there we go. So there's my 2 networks. There's 5G and non-5G, and actually the 2.4 Wi-Fi is a little bit better. It's longer distance. The 5G is faster, but it's shorter distance. And since I'm setting this up for someone else, I'm going to add their networks. And so then all I would do is click add network, and then I enter in the SSID and their password, and then it'll save it. Save and connect. It won't connect, but it'll save it in there. So that's about it on configuration. If we go to expert, we really don't need to mess with anything in the expert tab. Configuration, expert. So these are like the settings. It's the same thing, but just a little bit more detailed than the configuration tab. So there's the call sign, DMR ID, frequency again. We don't really want to mess with any of this. Pretty much preset. And then you can go in and hard type in the Wi-Fi if you want. Sometimes when you add a Wi-Fi network, it doesn't catch. I don't know why. So what you can do is just go in here and manually add one. And then there's also a Wi-Fi file on the SD card, and you can actually just drag, like if you had a SD card on your computer, you could drag and add a new Wi-Fi file. I think that's like a Raspberry Pi thing, maybe. Some other things, you want to leave the hotspot on overnight. It updates overnight. So right now we're on version 4, release candidate 4. It's the beta, but the beta is the one that works with the newer Pi 3B Plus. But yeah, if you wanted to update, you just click on update, and then it would go in and update as long as it's connected to the internet. So update is kind of like just updating the information, the security, the server IP addresses, that kind of stuff. And then it'll tell you when it's done. So there we go. We updated some stuff. What does it say now? Updating firewall, starting services. So it actually turns off the service while it's updating. You see the radio is not doing anything, and then it'll turn everything back on when it's done, and then we should see the radio come back to life with the little green light to show we got a connection. And then the other part is upgrade. and upgrade updates like the whole Pi-Star. And so it says there I'm already running the latest version. So now we can go back to admin. Oh, there's somebody. Alright, so we see Victor Alpha 3, Tango Tango Oscar keyed up. Nothing happening. Another thing that's kind of annoying is if you're on 91 and somebody is having a real long conversation, sometimes you have to wait to change talk groups, but right now it's good. So we'll just do one more audio test. Test, 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 test. Yep. So that's about it. And this is set up for my radio, but when the other radio comes in, I'll program it. And the hotspot's nice. Like, you know, on repeaters, the repeater owner decides what talk groups you can have. So you could have maybe 16 Brandmeister talk groups, but when you're on your own hotspot, you can any talk group. I think there's almost thousands, so a lot more customizable and access. So there's the temperature. This has been on for a couple minutes, and we're up to 53 degrees centigrade. Still pretty good, pretty far below 75. And then another thing is the power cord. So you want to make sure you have a really good power cord and power supply. So we got the Pi, the Mmdvm board, the screen, all that going on. If you had a keyboard on, that would draw power. Oh, and here's the keyboard, so you can see me. This is me using the Logitech Unify keyboard. But yeah, you want at least three amps. I would go 4. These are Power Plus power supplies. Another thing is, you get cheap power supplies, they'll make a lot of noise on HF. So I take them over by my HF rig and turn them on and see how the noise is. And if the noise is high, I just send them back to get them on Amazon. Because they didn't want to pay for the circuitry to reduce the noise in there. But yeah, that's about it.